I gave my son up for adoption when I was 17. Now his adoptive parents tracked me down and want me to pay $120,000 for his college because he's my responsibility. 18 years of closed adoption. No contact, no rights. Then suddenly I owe them money because he's biologically mine. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm 35 years old. When I was 17, I got my girlfriend pregnant. We were kids, scared, unprepared. We made the hardest decision of our lives. We gave our baby up for adoption. Closed adoption. No contact, no updates. The adoptive parents wanted it that way. I signed away all my parental rights. Legal termination. Clean break. It destroyed me, but I accepted it. Moved forward with my life. That was 18 years ago. I built a career, got married, had 2 kids, created a family. I never forgot about my biological son, never stopped thinking about him, but I respected the adoption agreement. Then, last month, the adoptive parents found me on social media. Their message: "We need to talk about Tyler. He's going to college. We can't afford it. You need to pay $120,000 for a private university. He's your biological son. You have a moral obligation. We raised him for 18 years. You owe us." I refused. I signed away my rights when I was 17. You wanted closed adoption. No contact ever. You can't come back now demanding money. They threatened to sue, told Tyler about me, said I abandoned him, that I'm refusing to help him. Now my biological son, who I've never met, thinks I'm a deadbeat who doesn't care. And the parents who insisted on closed adoption are painting me as the villain for not paying for college. This is the story of what happens when people rewrite the rules to benefit themselves. I grew up in a small town in Arizona. Typical middle-class family. Mom was a teacher. Dad worked in construction. I was an okay student. Nothing special. More interested in sports than academics. When I was 16, I started dating Melissa. She was in my grade. Sweet girl. We were young and stupid and thought we were in love. We had sex. Didn't use protection every time. Thought we were invincible. Thought it won't happen to us. It happened to us. Melissa missed her period. Took a pregnancy test. Positive. We were terrified. Absolutely terrified. She told me in the parking lot after school. Started crying. "I'm pregnant. What are we going to do?" I didn't know. I was 16 years old. I had no idea what to do. We told our parents. Separately. That night. My parents were devastated. Angry. Disappointed. My mom cried for hours. "Ryan, how could you be so irresponsible? You're throwing your life away." "I know. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. We need to talk to Melissa's parents. Figure this out together." Melissa's parents were religious. Very religious. Abortion wasn't an option in their minds. The 4 parents met. Discussed options. Melissa keeping the baby. She was 17. Still in high school. No job. No way to support a child. My parents couldn't afford to raise another kid. They were already stretched thin financially. Melissa's parents couldn't take the baby either. Her dad had just lost his job. They were struggling. So we talked about adoption. A social worker explained the process. Open adoption versus closed adoption. Open adoption meant we could have some contact. Updates. Maybe visits. Maintain some connection. Closed adoption meant no contact. Ever. The adoptive parents would have complete control. We'd never hear about the child again. We met with several potential adoptive families. The social worker set up interviews. The Hendersons stood out. Rich, successful, big house in Scottsdale, corporate lawyer and a doctor. They couldn't have children. Had tried fertility treatments for years. Nothing worked. They were desperate for a baby, and they had requirements. "We want a closed adoption. Mrs. Henderson said firmly. Complete privacy. No contact with the biological parents. Ever. We'll be this child's only parents. We don't want confusion. The social worker explained what that meant. You'll sign away all parental rights. You won't get updates. Won't know where the child is. Won't have any legal claim. Ever. Felt wrong. But Melissa and I were 17. We didn't know what else to do. The Hendersons were offering our baby a good life. Private schools, college fund, two-parent home, stability we couldn't provide. Maybe it's better this way, Melissa said, crying. Clean break. We can move on. The baby gets a good life. Are you sure? I asked. No. But what choice do we have? We chose the Hendersons. Signed the papers. Melissa gave birth 3 months after we turned 17. A boy, 7 pounds 6 ounces. I was there, held him for 10 minutes, looked at his tiny face, memorized every detail. I'm sorry, I whispered to him. I'm so sorry I can't keep you. I hope you have a good life. Then the Hendersons took him, and I never saw him again. Melissa and I broke up a month later. Too much trauma. Too many painful memories. We couldn't look at each other without thinking about what we'd lost. Every conversation reminded us. Every silence was filled with the baby we'd given away. She'd start crying randomly. In the school hallway. During lunch. I'd find her in the parking lot sobbing. I couldn't comfort her, because I was barely holding it together myself. We tried to stay friends. Lasted 2 weeks. Then she said, I can't do this. Every time I see you, I see him. I can't. I understand. I'm sorry. Me too. She moved away after graduation. Went to college in California. Needed distance from everything that reminded her of what happened. Last I heard, through mutual friends, she got married, had kids. I hope she found peace. I hope she's happy. I hope she doesn't blame herself the way I blamed myself. I finished high school. Barely. I was depressed. Grieving. Felt like I'd lost a part of myself. My grades tanked senior year. Went from B's and C's to D's and F's. Didn't care anymore. Teachers asked if everything was okay. I'd say yes. I'd keep my head down. My parents were worried. Really worried. Ryan, you're throwing away your future, my dad said. I know what happened was hard, but you can't give up. I'm not giving up. I just don't care about school right now. You have to care. You have to move forward. That baby is with a good family. You did the right thing. Now you need to live your life. Easy for him to say. He didn't hold his son and then hand him to strangers. My mom got me into therapy, a counselor who specialized in adoption trauma. She was kind, patient. Let me cry. Let me rage. Let me grieve. What you're feeling is normal, she said. You experienced a profound loss. You're allowed to mourn. Everyone keeps telling me to move on, that I made the right choice, that I should be fine. Making the right choice doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. You can make a good decision and still grieve the loss. Those feelings can coexist. That helped, knowing I wasn't crazy for being sad. Therapy took months. Slowly, I started to function again. Got my grades up enough to graduate. My parents pushed college. You need structure, purpose, something to work toward. I applied to community college. Got in. Started classes. It was hard at first, being around people my age who seemed carefree, who didn't have this massive secret weighing them down. I'd see guys my age goofing off, complaining about homework, and I'd think, I have a son somewhere. I'm a father, and I'll never know him. But slowly I found my footing, made friends, joined clubs, started to build a new identity. Not the teen dad who gave his kid away, just Ryan, college student, regular guy. I dated a little, nothing serious. I was too messed up emotionally. One girl asked why I was so closed off. I told her the truth. When I was 17, I got someone pregnant. We gave the baby up for adoption. It messed me up pretty bad. She broke up with me the next day. That's too much baggage for me. Fair enough. I transferred to Arizona State after 2 years. Got a degree in business. Worked my way up in sales. Started at a car dealership. Hated it. Commission only. Pushy culture. Then got a job at a software company. Sales rep. Salary plus commission. Much better. I was good at sales. Good at reading people. Building relationships. Closing deals. Moved up to account manager. Then senior account manager. Started making real money. Bought a condo. Nice car. Started saving. Building a life. But there was always this emptiness. This piece missing. Every birthday I'd think about him. He's 1. He's 5. He's 10. Every Father's Day, I'd wonder if he knew he was adopted. If he thought about his biological parents. I'd see kids his age and wonder, is he tall, short, athletic, artistic, smart? Does he look like me, like Melissa, like some combination we'd never see? The not knowing was the hardest part. When I was 27, I met Sarah. She was a kindergarten teacher, kind, patient, everything I needed. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was setting up a game for the kids, laughing, natural with them. I watched her for 20 minutes before working up the courage to talk to her. You're really good with kids. She smiled. I better be. I teach kindergarten. That's a tough job. It's the best job. Kids that age still love learning. They're excited about everything. We talked for hours. About work. About life. About dreams. I told her about the adoption on our third date. I'd learned my lesson. Better to be upfront. There's something you should know about me. When I was 17, I got my girlfriend pregnant. We gave the baby up for adoption. Closed adoption. I've never met him. Never will. It's the biggest regret of my life, but I've made peace with it. I waited for her to make an excuse, to end the date early, to disappear like the others. Instead, she reached across the table and took my hand. That must have been so hard. You were just a kid. I was, but I think about him sometimes. Wonder what he's like. If he's happy. If he hates me. Why would he hate you? Because I gave him away. Because I wasn't strong enough to keep him. You were strong enough to do what was best for him. That's different. That takes a different kind of strength. I'd never thought about it that way. Everyone else focused on what I'd lost. Sarah saw what I'd given. We dated for 2 years. Moved in together after 1 year. Got engaged after 18 months. I was happy. Really happy. Sarah made me believe I deserved happiness. That my past didn't define my future. We got married when I was 29. Small wedding. Close friends and family. During his toast, my dad said, Ryan has been through more than most people his age. He's made hard choices and lived with them. Sarah, you're getting a man who understands sacrifice. Who understands love isn't always easy. Take care of each other. I cried. My dad had never really acknowledged what the adoption cost me. Hearing him say it meant everything. Sarah and I talked about kids early in our marriage. We both wanted them, but I was nervous. What if I'm a bad dad? What if I mess it up? You won't. You're kind. You're patient. You'll be a great dad. I gave my first kid away. You were 17. You're 30 now. You have a career, a home, partner. It's completely different. When Sarah got pregnant with Emma, I was terrified and excited in equal measure. Every doctor's appointment, I thought about Melissa's pregnancy, the fear, the uncertainty. But this was different. This baby was wanted, planned. We were ready. Sarah gave birth to Emma when I was 30. I held my daughter and sobbed. I have a daughter, I kept saying. I have a daughter and I get to keep her. Sarah laughed through her tears. Yes, you do. She's ours. That night, alone in the hospital room while Sarah slept, I looked at Emma's tiny face. And I thought about my son. He'd be 13 then, a teenager. Did he know he was adopted? Did his parents tell him? Did he wonder about us? I whispered to Emma, "You have a brother somewhere. You'll probably never meet him, but he's out there, and I hope he's okay." I cried quietly, for what I had, for what I'd lost, for the family that could have been. Sarah woke up, found me crying. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. I'm thinking about him." She didn't ask who. She knew. It's okay to grieve. You can love Emma and still mourn the son you gave up. Those feelings can both exist. "I just hope he's okay. I hope he has a good life." "I'm sure he does. You gave him that chance." Her words echoed what the therapist had said years ago. Maybe they were right. We had our second child, a son named Lucas, when I was 32. Holding Lucas for the first time, I thought, I have a son. I get to watch this one grow up. Life was good, really good. I had a career, a wife I loved, 2 healthy kids, a house in Phoenix. The adoption was always there, a scar, a tender spot, but it didn't control my life anymore. I'd made peace with it, or so I thought. Then last month, I got a Facebook message from someone named Jennifer Henderson. "Hi Ryan, you don't know me, but I think we need to talk. It's about Tyler, your son." My heart stopped. Tyler, that was the name I'd suggested before the adoption. Melissa and I had talked about names, even though we knew we weren't keeping him. I stared at the message for an hour. Should I respond? What did they want? Finally, I replied, "Who is this?" "I'm Tyler's mother. Well, adoptive mother. We adopted him from you and Melissa 18 years ago. I need to discuss something important with you. Can we talk on the phone?" I called Sarah over, showed her the message. Oh my God, after 18 years? What do they want? I don't know. Should I respond? I think you have to, but be careful. This could be complicated. I gave Jennifer my phone number. She called that night. "Ryan, thank you for talking to me. I know this is unexpected. We've never contacted you before because we wanted a closed adoption. But circumstances have changed." "What circumstances?" "Tyler is 17 now. He's a senior in high school. Very bright. Got accepted to Stanford. Full ride for tuition, but he still needs money for room, board expenses. About $30,000 a year. $120,000 total. Okay, congratulations to him. The thing is, we can't afford it. My husband lost his job 2 years ago. I had cancer last year. Medical bills wiped out our savings. We're barely getting by." "I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't understand why you're calling me." "Because Tyler is your son, biologically, and we think you have a moral obligation to help pay for his college." I was stunned. "What? You're his biological father. You have money. We've seen your LinkedIn. You have a good job, a house. You can afford to help. I signed away all parental rights 18 years ago. You insisted on closed adoption. No contact. Remember? That was different. That was about raising him. This is about helping him succeed. He's your flesh and blood. And you've been his parents for 18 years. You chose to raise him. You have the parental obligation, not me. We can't afford Stanford, Ryan. If you don't help, he'll have to go to state school. Or community college. Is that what you want for your son? He's not my son. Legally. I gave up that right when I was 17. Because you wanted it that way." Her tone turned cold. "So you're refusing to help him?" "I'm saying this isn't my responsibility. You adopted him. You're his parents. College expenses are your responsibility. We raised him for 18 years. Fed him, clothed him, paid for private school, music lessons, sports. We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into him. The least you could do is help with college." You chose to adopt him. Those were your choices as his parents. I had no say in any of it because you cut me out completely. Fine. We'll tell Tyler about you. Let him know his biological father is alive, successful, and refusing to help him. Let's see how that feels." She hung up. I sat there, shaking. Sarah was pale. "They want you to pay for college? $120,000. Because I'm his biological father and have a moral obligation. That's insane. You signed away your rights. They can't come back now asking for money. They're threatening to tell Tyler about me. Make me look like a deadbeat." "You're not a deadbeat. You were a 17-year-old kid who made a responsible decision to give him a better life. They're going to tell him I'm refusing to help. He's going to hate me. He doesn't even know you. And honestly, if they're the kind of people who track down a biological parent after 18 years to demand money, maybe he deserves to know the truth about them too." I wanted to believe Sarah, but I felt sick, guilty, like I was failing my son all over again. A week later, I got an email from a lawyer representing the Hendersons. Legal letter demanding I pay for Tyler's education, claiming I had a moral and potentially legal obligation. I showed it to my own lawyer. "They have no case," he said. "You legally terminated parental rights, closed adoption. You have zero legal obligation to this child." "What about moral obligation? That's not a legal concept. Morally, you could argue they have an obligation to find a way to pay for their son's education. They adopted him. They're his legal parents. Not you. They're going to tell him about me. That's their choice. But Ryan, you didn't abandon this kid. You were 17. You made an adoption plan because you couldn't provide for him. That's responsible, not abandonment." I sent a response through my lawyer, firmly declining to pay, reiterating that I had no legal obligation. The Hendersons didn't stop. They created a Facebook post, public, tagged mutual acquaintances from Arizona. "Searching for birth parents who can help our son attend his dream school. Tyler is an amazing young man who deserves every opportunity. We've given him everything for 18 years. Now we're asking his biological father to step up and help. College is expensive. We can't do it alone. Family helps family." They didn't name me, but people who knew about the adoption could figure it out. Then they told Tyler. Jennifer called me again. "I told Tyler about you. He knows you exist. He knows you're refusing to help pay for Stanford. He's devastated. You had no right. He's 17, old enough to know the truth, that his biological father is out there, living a nice life and won't help him. That's not fair. You demanded closed adoption. I respected that for 18 years. And now we're asking you to respect your son, help him, or live with the guilt." She hung up again. That night I got a Facebook message from Tyler. "Hi, I guess you're my biological dad. My parents told me about you. I don't know what to say. I'm confused and angry. They said you won't help pay for college. Is that true?" My hands were shaking as I read it. This was my son, the baby I held for 10 minutes 18 years ago. I typed carefully. "Tyler, I'm sorry you're finding out about me this way. Yes, I'm your biological father. Your mom and I were 17 when you were born. We weren't ready to be parents. We chose adoption because we wanted you to have a good life. Your adoptive parents wanted closed adoption. No contact. I respected that. I signed away all parental rights. Legally, I'm not your parent. I've thought about you every day for 18 years. But I'm not in a position to pay for your college. That's a responsibility that belongs to your parents. I'm sorry." He responded immediately. "So you just gave me up and forgot about me? And now you won't even help me?" "I didn't forget about you. I've never forgotten about you. But I was 17. I couldn't raise a child. Your parents are your parents. They've raised you. I'm just the person who helped bring you into the world. They said you have money, that you could help if you wanted to, that you just don't care. That's not true. I do care. But I have my own family now. 2 kids. A mortgage. Bills. I can't afford to pay $120,000 for someone else's child's college. Someone else's child? I'm your son. Biologically, yes. But legally and practically, you're the Hendersons' son. They chose to adopt you. They chose closed adoption. They're changing the rules now because it benefits them. He stopped responding. I felt horrible, like I'd failed him twice. Once at birth, now at college. Sarah found me crying in our bedroom. They told him. He messaged me. He thinks I don't care. Of course he does. They're manipulating him. They're desperate and they're using him to guilt you. What if I should help? What if I owe him something? Ryan, listen to me. You were a child when you gave him up. You made a responsible choice. You legally terminated your rights at their insistence. You've had no contact, no updates, no relationship for 18 years. They don't get to show up now demanding 6 figures because they mismanaged their money. He's my son. He's their son. They raised him. If they couldn't afford Stanford, Tyler can go to state school, or community college, or take out loans like millions of other students. That's not your problem. Everyone's going to think I'm a deadbeat. Who cares what people think? The people who matter know the truth. You're a good father to Emma and Lucas. You're a good husband. You made a hard choice at 17 and you've lived with it. You don't owe the Hendersons anything. But the guilt ate at me, every day. The Hendersons escalated, posted on local Facebook groups. Our son's biological father is refusing to help him go to college. He's successful, has money, but won't help the son he abandoned. Please share so Tyler can get the support he deserves. People in my community saw it. Co-workers, neighbors, friends. Some people supported me. You gave him up for adoption at 17. You don't owe him anything now. Others judged me. How can you refuse to help your own son? That's heartless. I had to explain the situation over and over. The closed adoption, the termination of rights, the fact that the Hendersons were the ones who set these terms. My boss called me into his office. Ryan, I saw something on Facebook. People are talking. Is everything okay? It's complicated. Old adoption situation. People are spreading misinformation. Just make sure it doesn't affect your work or the company's reputation. I was furious. This was affecting my job now, my current family, my life. I sent one final message to Jennifer. Stop posting about me publicly. Stop contacting me. Stop using Tyler to manipulate me. I made my decision. I'm not paying for college. If you continue to harass me or damage my reputation, I'll pursue legal action for defamation and harassment. This ends now. She responded, You're a coward. Tyler deserves better than you. We'll make sure he knows exactly who you are. I blocked them, all of them, Jennifer, her husband, Tyler. Changed my social media settings to private. Had my lawyer send a cease and desist letter. The post stopped, but the damage was done. My relationship with Tyler, a person I've never met, is destroyed before it could begin. The Hendersons got what they wanted in some ways. They painted me as a villain, made themselves look like victims. But they didn't get my money. It's been 3 weeks. I don't know what Tyler decided about college. I don't know if he went to Stanford or somewhere else. I hope he's happy. I hope he has a good life. But I'm not paying for it. Sarah and I have talked extensively about the guilt, about the ethics, about the situation. You know you made the right choice, right? She says. I think so, but it doesn't feel right. You gave him up for adoption because you wanted him to have a better life. The Hendersons promised that. If they can't afford Stanford, that's their failure, not yours. Tyler can still have a great education, just maybe not at a $120,000 school. Everyone thinks I'm a deadbeat. Not everyone. The people who matter understand. Emma and Lucas will understand when they're older. You're protecting our family. That's your job now. She's right, but it still hurts. I think about Tyler constantly, wonder what he looks like, what he's passionate about, if he's anything like me. But he's not my son. Not really. He's the Hendersons' son. They made sure of that 18 years ago. And now they want me to be his father when it's financially convenient, while still maintaining they're his only real parents. You can't have it both ways. Either I'm his father with rights and responsibilities, or I'm a sperm donor who signed away all claims. They chose the latter, and they have to live with that choice. Just like I've had to live with mine. People ask if I'll ever try to have a relationship with Tyler. When he's 18. When he's an adult. I don't know. Maybe someday. If he wants to. If he can understand the whole story. But I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to show up in his life demanding a relationship after respecting his parents' wishes for 18 years. The ball is in his court. If he wants to know me, really know me, not just as a potential source of money, I'm open to it. But I'm not holding my breath. The Hendersons have poisoned that well, told him I abandoned him, that I don't care, that I'm selfish. None of that is true, but it's his reality now. I gave Tyler up because I loved him enough to want better for him than I could provide at 17. I'm refusing to pay for college because I respect the adoption agreement and because I have my own family to protect. Those two things can both be true, and both be right. Have you ever been asked to pay for something you're not legally responsible for? Have you ever had people try to guilt you into giving them money? Have you ever been judged for honoring an agreement that someone else now regrets? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes doing the right thing means standing firm, even when people try to manipulate you. If you believe that adoptive parents can't demand closed adoption and then come back 18 years later asking for money, hit that like button and subscribe. Because adoption is about giving a child a better life, not creating a backup financial plan for when things get tough. #closed adoption.